Hello and welcome to Gareth Paints Minis. You're probably wondering why my voice doesn't match up with my lips, and that's because I forgot to press the record volume button when I did this video, and therefore my editor is standing in my place. So what are we doing today? We're going to be sticking some magnets into some minis. This is to make it much easier to have arms and legs that detach, and you can swap it around with lots of different options that you might have. This is the mini that I'm working with, and this are the arms. They are really tiny arms, and I haven't painted anything yet. What I will be using is these itty bitty magnets, and as you can see they are super itty bitty. They are tiny. Whatever you do, do not swallow any magnets. It can be harmful to your health. That is a quick health warning that I put out there for you, and it's for free. As you can see, these are probably the tiniest magnets I've ever seen in my entire life, so be super careful with them. The last thing you want is to drop them or have a small child or animal or even yourself eat them. It can be very detrimental to your health. It's not good at all. But we want to stick it in the side of him, so we're just going to measure it up a little bit and work out how deep we're going to go. And this is the other shoulder, we'll do it on that side too. And yes, let's get down to doing some drilling. First off, I thought about using my X-Acto knife, but that's a stupid idea. Let's use a proper drill. And we're just going to put it in here, and wow, that's a really noisy drill. Right, I've managed to go all the way through. That looks great. Yeah, I think this is good. So now we're going to use the X-Acto knife, and we're just going to hollow it out a little bit more. We need to make a little bit of space so we can put some green stuff in there, and once we've got some green stuff in there we can set the magnet in where we like. Doing quite a lot of excavation here. Like I say, we want to really pack it in with some green stuff and some magnet goodness. Blow on it as well. You got to blow on your mini, that's for good luck. Also go very slowly, try not to stab yourself in the finger. Blow on it again, lots of blowing, loads of luck with this mini. I can feel that we're going to have a really great time with this mini. Right, grab a magnet, it's going to be super tiny, make sure it fits, don't let it fall into the hole, because if it's a hollow mini that's probably going to ruin your day. And we can tell that's an absolute perfect fit, snug as anything. However, I need to get it out with the drill again. There we go, all done. Nope, it seems to be stuck, so I'm just going to push it out from the other side, give it a little bit of wiggle. Obviously I haven't blown on this mini enough. My luck seems to be running out. But no, here's a magnet, it's coming out. It's right in place. Now, for those of you at home who are a bit disappointed with my accent, I can confirm that I am in fact from America. However, my editor is from the UK, so he's just talking like this. He would do an American accent, but it's probably going to annoy a country of 340 million or so it's probably best not. In the meantime, I am carrying on trying to stick this mini magnet in place inside this mini. Yeah, just bear with me while I concentrate, and I will speak to you on the next part of the video. Of how to make green stuff. First of all, you need some blue stuff and a mini, and then as you can see I've got some yellow stuff as well. That's important, very important. Yellow stuff and blue stuff. And here is the yellow stuff. Now, like I say, it does have to be specific yellow stuff. You can't just use stuff like custard or anything. And here's a pokey stick, I'm just going to put that down. And then you get a little bit of yellow stuff, a little bit of blue stuff, and watch this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are going to witness magic in the making. So, first of all, I lick my fingers and I start smushing it all together, and smushing is indeed the technical term here. You don't want to just push it together or kneading like dough or anything, it's smushing. So make sure that if you are passing on tips like this to anyone else, use the correct terminology. Now at this point, if your fingers are starting to get a little bit dry, just go ahead and stick it in the water again, because you want to make sure that everything's all sort of moist and all that. When things are moist, it's easier to work with. Now at this stage we can just easily break some off, and we're just going to shove it in the hole that we made earlier with the drill. And now this is where my pokey stick comes into play, and as you can see I'm just gently pushing it in there, bit like what you do with a Mr. Potato Head and some Play-Doh. And to be honest with you, it's actually going to be quite like a Mr. Potato Head and Play-Doh, but we're actually going to be using the Play-Doh to actually keep things in place. So we've done enough on the left arm. We're going to go over to the right shoulder, and once again just gently just stab him in the shoulder and get all that lovely green stuff in there. Now you all know how much I love my itty bitty magnets, so we're going to get one of them. Just trying to get my little fingernails under the little bugger, and gonna shove that into the green stuff. Make sure you have the polarity the correct way round, or at this stage, seeing as you're doing the first magnet, it may or may not really matter, but it will matter when we get to that later. And I'm absolutely confident with all the blowing that I've done my miniature, I will not screw up the polarity whatsoever. So now it's just a case of gently pushing with my pokey stick, getting it into place, and grabbing another magnet. Careful not to drop it, because like I say, they are the smallest magnets in all creation. And just going to use my thumbnail to push it into place. Pokey stick for the win. Magnets getting stuck to my pokey stick, which is annoying. And there you have it. Maybe I'll just fiddle around with it a little bit more. Yeah, neaten it up, and like I say, we can always sand off any green stuff once that's all been done with. Itchy thumb there, and just poke at it until you're happy. Maybe poke into the head as well. So at this stage I'm pretty confident that all my poking is done. Maybe just one more in the neck for good measure, but with the neck we're going to try and shove a magnet in here. So looking at it, it does seem like, although we have shoved quite a lot of green stuff in via the shoulders, we still probably need a little bit more. It's not quite up to the neck yet, so I'm just going to put a little bit more green stuff, get my pokey stick out and push it in just till it's nice and close to where the edge of the model is. Now once again we're going to get the magnets out. This is the last magnet we need, which is going on the main body of the model, and don't eat those magnets. They don't taste very nice and they are not good for you. So like I say, I just want to put it out there that magnets are dangerous. Even though they don't look that dangerous, they just look all cute and innocent, but it's very easy to have an accident with them and you don't want to do that. But I'm just gonna dig a little bit of a hole out of my green stuff. It's starting to set already. I may have used a little bit too much blue or yellow, I don't know, but like I say, it's quite easily worked with the X-Acto knife. I've dug a little channel in there, just going to scrape off a little bit off the shoulder. And where's that magnet gone? Hello! Yes, this is Andy the editor once again. I promise this is the last time. After this segment you are going to get Gareth's real voice, and at this point we're just carefully pushing those magnets into place now. What we want is we want it to be flush with the edge of the model, so we're going to be extremely careful with this X-Acto knife and just push it into position. And we'll do the same for the other shoulder. Once again, just easing it in gently, and can't decide whether to use the front or the back of the X-Acto knife, but there we go, that's easily done. And we can just scrape off a little bit of excess of green stuff before it starts to cure, because we don't want to do that, and we can just pop in the final magnet. I don't know if you noticed that, but I did this really cool thing where the magnet just got onto the end of the X-Acto knife and I just slotted it right in. How slick was that? Like I say, we just need to scrape a few bits off. We don't want it to ruin the overall effect of the model, but we just want to make sure everything is nice and flush, because we're going to have some heads and maybe a couple of arms fitting in there at a later point. So as you can see, all nice and neat, very beautiful. Well done me. Maybe just give it a little bit of rub with a thumb, and yeah, probably a few bits I just need to tidy up there, but nothing worth losing sleep over. And now I'm just gonna let it set overnight, and that should be solid as a rock, and we'll be able to do a lot more work. And yes, I am going to have my microphone on tomorrow, so look forward to hearing my real voice.
Okay, so it's been a day. I've let the green stuff harden, so that way the magnets will be sure to be held in place. So now what we're going to do is I will work on I even assembled one of the heads here, and I will get a magnet in there so it can rest on top. And we'll also do the same for the other two heads and the arms. Without any other further ado, let's go ahead. I'll work on one of the arms first. This one is meant to go on this side. This time I'll do a little bit of a dry fitting, and good, that'll mesh up nicely. And as you can see, the magnet is embedded well enough in there, but what I will do now, I will grab again one of the smaller magnets. I don't need a big one to hold it on there, I just needed a bigger one as an anchor magnet. So, fun little thing to do. Here now, I'll get one of these. Actually, I got two. Great, perfect. So now what I'll do is I'll make sure, yep, the other magnet clicks in nicely, and so does this one. Though this one fits flush, so what that tells me is that I will be able to just trim off some of this little bit on each arm, secure it, and then it will stay flush with the rest of the model. Now what this tells me here, right here, so you can see it kind of sticks out just a little bit, is that I'll have to dig into each of the arms on that side to make sure that it sits flush. Now, another thing too is, now I know which way these magnets will stick. And what I'll do for the time being is just leave these two magnets right where they're at. And then when it's time to glue them on, I will paint the side that's facing up black. So that way I know that's the side that needs to stay down. So let's get to trimming this down just a little bit. So we'll just trim this off just a little bit. And since this side just fits nice and flush, let's see, did my green stuff? Yep, the rest of this hardened overnight, so I will have to make another dollop, if you will, of green stuff. And I always use that just to make sure that that the magnets are nice and secure to the model itself. You can figure nothing like a little bit of two-part epoxy polymer to make sure that your magnets are going to stay connected, both in the miniature and on the limbs that you're doing. And what I might do here too is I'll go a little bit more blue so it has a little bit more adhesion. I don't really need to be able to work with it for too long. Just need it to be able to hold fast. Just a little trick. Learned that the hard way because I was trying to put magnets on a different model and it didn't really go well because I got everything secured and then found out that I put on the wrong polarity. So needless to say, the magnets wouldn't stick together and I have to go through the whole problem of getting them unstuck. And these magnets are refusing to come out right now, so I'll just use another magnet to draw them out. And not the right polarity. Okay, and I've got it out. And so I'm not working with a metal tool and just having it stick to that. I'm actually using just one of my scenic tools. Make sure I have the green stuff molded around it well enough. Alright, and now moment of truth to make sure I didn't mess it up. There we go. Magnet sticks. So now again, I will do the rest of the arms in a similar fashion, and the heads as well. So with how this one sticks out, and again, what I could just even do to here is just build up a little bit of green stuff around it, which I probably will, just a little bit. Enough of a hole to where I can then widen it out, because that point there is at least good enough to tell me where I will need to put the magnet, because that's where it's naturally supposed to attach to the model. Again, all I'm doing here is just pressing the hobby knife while I twist a little bit, and it acts like another drill bit. And yes, I will have to be careful since this is a thinner arm. I have actually drilled through before on some others, but nothing that a little green stuff can't cover up. I'm just trying to make this wide enough so the magnet can sit in. And that does look pretty good. Let me try and show you guys. Yep, that looks pretty good. Let's just do a quick test. Let's hope it doesn't come off again. Alright, it's holding nicely, and it came off nicely. The way this head sits, as you can see, this little bit is going to have to go, and I may have to drill into the head just a little bit, just to make this sit naturally, so he doesn't just have an oblong head. Let's start with the drill bit, and we'll go more towards the back of the head, just so that way, this one I'll be a little bit more careful with, because I'd rather try and fix a hole in the back of the head than try and fix a mess up on the facial features. Because right now it would be smoothing a helmet or resculpting a little bit of hair with some green stuff, which is easy enough to do. At least I say that, because days of playing a Space Wolf player taught me how to green stuff some fur. There's the hole that I've drilled in the head. Let's get another small magnet and just see how this will fit. And at least the neat part with magnets, they are going to be drawn to anything metallic, so that's always the easiest way to find them, is if they drop, look for anything metallic nearby that they may have decided to do a if I sit fits I sits. Maybe bore that out just a little bit more, just so the magnet fits correctly. Then I can have this head pretty much done. It might look a little oblong, but it's not going to look so bad from arm's length away, which is always a good general thing you want to do with any miniature painting, because a lot of times we're in the trenches looking at everything up close. Just pull back and see how it looks at arm's length. So there's the basics of how I do magnetizing on some models. I will probably cut away and come back to showing you the finished arms. all done and green stuffed up with their respective magnets in them. Okay, and we're back. I've let my green stuff set overnight. Did a little bit of a test. As you can see, this is all sticking together just nicely. And let's try some of the other arms just to be sure. Alright, with this one I might need to do a little bit more with that just to hide that joint. But this one's looking pretty nice. And as you can see with the other heads, this one's on there, this one's here, and they're fitting pretty good. Now that the green stuff has had plenty of time to dry, and after one little louse up where I had to kind of reattach some magnets, not because the polarity was reversed, just because the green stuff didn't hold as well as I thought it did, so I used a little bit of super glue. As you can see, we've got all the nice little magnets just right there on Agent Callus. And we'll just do a few little fits here just to be sure that everything's looking well. As you can see here, not a huge joint line there, and it'll be easily covered up because this armor is black. And I glued these arms together already just to see how well this will work. And let's see if they just cooperate. Crap. Alright, so after finding out that I had put some magnets on the wrong way, had to redo them, re-glue them, you know, some standard stuff. Okay, so after a night of waiting for green stuff to set up, I've gotten all of the arms matched up accordingly. Aside from that little screw up there, everything else is done and ready to go. So as you can see here too, the heads match up nicely. There it is. And boom. Let me pry out this magnet quick. See, this is what happens when you're just a little bit on the impatient side. And then, as you can see, I even got this all glued together. So there's how you would magnetize arms and other limbs on miniatures. Hope you guys have found this useful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can and as soon as I see them. Thanks for checking this out,